does make sense because it's low vibration energy, these
Yeah.
emotions of fear and doubt and frustration, and you just need to release them so that you can, move up on your vibration of your human vibration.
Well, and for somebody who doesn't like you and I, we're talking in this, shortcut, this short code because we understand it. But for somebody who doesn't and here's, well, just release it. It's like, how do I do that? And literally, I talked about this in my newsletter to my subscribers this morning, telling them about, that my husband's going through this and a picture of me in a tank top sitting. You can tell I'm sitting next to my car because you can see the tire behind me where we had to go get more blood work yesterday. So what was my self-care? I can't do anything to help with the blood draw in this windowless building. Oh, we had the sun here in Connecticut. So I whipped my beach chair out of the car and set it in the parking lot next to the car, getting the sunshine. And so it's now like you think, okay, what's the big deal with that? But it's because I took a small amount of time for my self-care. And that is the takeaway really want people to get is like in my book, Goodbye Anxiety, Hello Freedom, which by the way, just because I wrote that doesn't mean I don't experience anxiety. I do, but I know how to handle it. So there's 35 techniques in the book, not because I think, ooh, you got to learn all 35. It's figure out 2 or 3 techniques that work for you and do them again and again and again and again, right?
Yeah.
Because when you do that, we're coming up on Mother's Day. I know both of us are mothers, and anybody who's listening that's a mother, happy Mother's Day. And when you taught your kids to brush their teeth, you didn't teach them one time and then, whoo, magically, they were brushing their teeth twice a day. It became a habit out of repetition. So when we want to use these really simple techniques to calm our stress and anxiety, waiting until the hits the fan isn't going to work because you're not going to think, oh, wait, let me go pick up my book and figure out which one I need to do, right? You need to build up those habits.
Yes, you do. And that's what I work with my clients as well. And, it's great that you got some vitamin D, natural vitamin D, because it just
Yeah.
uplifts your mood. So that
Yes.
was wonderful that you did that. And you went biking yesterday too. So exercise
Oh,
is
I have
really
I
important.
have been biking every day, and some days it's been twice a day. It's you find what works for you. And exercise is one of the techniques that I talk about in the book because there's so many benefits to physical exercise, not just the physical, because I think when you and I talked earlier, when we were setting this up, I have dropped and kept off 50 pounds. And it was not, okay, it's time for me to drop this weight, because I knew for many years that, well, hey, I looked at my size of my clothes. I looked in the mirror. I knew what size I was. It was not let me drop weight. It was the stress of 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
I realized, oh, emotionally, I wasn't doing well. So I was like, okay, what? Oh, I'm not moving my body very much. So I started moving my body and moving it more and more,
Mm-hmm.
because there's all kinds of studies that I'm sure you are much more well versed in this than I am. All these studies that show a body in motion. You've got the dopamine and the serotonin, and they talk about the runner's high and stuff.
Yeah.
So but for some people, they don't want to do that. And that's okay. Right. It's finding, and I'm not saying that from, your perspective of, dropping weight, which by the way, if you notice, I keep talking about dropping weight, not losing it, because
I call release.
when I lose my car keys, I want to go running to find them. And I am not running to find one of these 50 pounds. Right.
Yeah,
But so
exactly. Yeah.
so if bike riding or going for a long walk or any exercise, the gym or whatever doesn't work for you, you know, start small. Where if you are,
Yes.
if you sit and watch TV at night, put a soup can in each hand.
Yes.
And there's a great place to start. So it doesn't have to be, I rode 18 miles the other day on my
No,
bike.
it doesn't.
Like, oh my gosh. No, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It could be whatever is a little more than what you're doing now.
Exactly, exactly. And it also, just deep diaphragmatic breathing circulates the lymph and gets circulation going too, which really helps
So,
bring you up.
you mentioned sleep with your clients, and I wanted to share one of the breath techniques that this is hands down my go-to. My sleep issues and anxiety, by the way, are why I wrote this book, why I've been practicing and really specializing in helping people among all these other things that I can help people with. I do, but I really specialize in anxiety, especially because of the way the world is and has been for the past several years now, right?
Mhm.
Sleep is so paramount, right? If we
It
don't
is.
get enough sleep, and the latest stats I read were from 2020, so I think they're worse than this, but that 1 in 3 people in this country don't get even 6 hours a night. And
Yeah.
so the quickest way to help people go to sleep or fall back asleep that I know is this really simple breath technique, and
Mhm.
it is counting your breath.
Yes.
So, oh, okay, we're going to count sheep. That's never worked for anybody I've ever talked to, right? So, like, all right, how is this gonna? This will change, be a game changer. So, is it okay if I walk you through it, Debbie?
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
do box breathing, but
Oh no, this is a different breath. This is,
okay.
and this is one that I literally tell my clients only use this at sleep. So you're training your brain that, oh, when I do this breath technique, it's time to go to sleep.
Mhm.
So I want you to inhale and think 1. Exhale, think 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 4. Inhale 5. Exhale 6. Inhale 7. Exhale 8. Inhale 7. Exhale 6. Inhale 5. And then just let that go. So, what we want to do with this, Debbie, is we go from 1 up to 8, back down to 1, up to 8. It doesn't take very long, and boom, you're out again. And the reason this works so well is why why do most of us have problems falling asleep or falling back to sleep when we wake up? Because our mind starts,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
By doing this 1 to 8 to 1 to 8 breath, it focuses your conscious mind, right? And I promise you, you do this, it will happen. You're going to be doing this 1 to 8, and you're going to be 17. Wait, 23. How did I get here? And it's natural. Your conscious mind now has gone off somewhere. You just don't beat yourself up. You just come back to 1 and do it again. And
Uh-huh.
literally, I have heard this, and doesn't happen very often anymore for me. But when I have a problem, if I'm up in the middle of the night and like, oh, I do my 1 to 8 breath and I'm back to it. So, listeners, play with it. 1 up to 8, back to 1 up to 8. I would be very surprised if you tried that and said, "Oh, it didn't work for me." Honestly, I have yet to have somebody say that that didn't work for them.
True. And it's really important to sleep at least 7 hours.
Yeah.
Um, because, whether you're releasing weight, whether you're repairing your body, sleep is where it happens. So your body is, repairing itself from what you did in the day during the day, and it needs that time to recuperate. So
Yeah.
that's why sleep is so important. So
Yes, it is.
yes, it is. So we've talked a lot about certain sleep. We've talked about stress and anxiety, and how's your approach different from traditional medicine?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I have to parrot something you said earlier that I do not diagnose, prescribe, or treat anything, right?
True.
We need to CYA here. So, um, again, I really want to stress I take a holistic approach, totally holistic, because you know I went gray, finally let it come out a couple of years ago. That's how I look at life. There are no black and whites. We want black and white. We want that certainty so much, but one size doesn't fit all. So, you know, I really do believe my experience has been bringing it all together. So, I can't talk about medications at all. That's out of my scope of practice. So I just offer what's natural. So natural breath techniques, all of the techniques that are natural, but also things like essential oils.
Yes, and that's what I offer too, yes.
And they are life-changing. I have a tissue here, and it's people see me sniffing a tissue, and I'm like,
I
it's
know what you're doing.
well, it's because it's got
Mhm.
lemon, lavender, and peppermint in it. And
Yes.
believe it or not, ladies and gents who are watching, it helps with allergies.
Yes, it does.
Like, you know, I'm in Connecticut. I'm on the East Coast, so our allergy season is at its peak right now. And
Yeah.
so I'm riding my bike through, you know, these waves of pollen, and I'm just like, and people, I'm sure they're seeing me go by on my bike. She's like, "Oh, what the whatever," but it works. And then I use some of them for my emotions, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, lavender's great.
it's finding these things that people may be like, "Oh, that's hippy dippy," or "That's new, you know, new age stuff," and it really isn't. The essential oils they found in the pyramids, in the tombs, in the pyramids, so
Yes, I
they've
did.
been around for a while, right?
Yes.
So, if it's okay with you, let me give you another quick little example of something from the book that is so easy, because I really want to make sure that your listeners don't just hear me talking. I like to like, okay, let me literally give you hands-on experience. So in the book, I think it's called Toss
Oh,
the
ball
Ball.
toss.
Okay, see, you knew exactly where I was going with this. And I've got the ball, right? So I call it the ball toss. So we can do this, but most people don't just happen to have a tennis ball hanging out right there. So if you would, first think about something that has caused you a little stress, anxiety, frustration, or anger recently, that you can still feel some of that right now. And just privately, you don't have to tell me, but in the back of your mind, give it a 1 to 10 rating. 1 is not at all, 10 is through the roof. And then put your hands together in the prayer position in front of your heart and just swing one hand out and back, the other hand out and back. And then do this. Don't even look at me, Debbie. Just do it on your own pace. And after you do this for a very short time, all of a sudden you're going to notice, oh, things are getting a little calmer here. Maybe the stress and tension that you carry in your neck is all of a sudden feeling a little bit looser. It doesn't take very long. And it's like, how does this work? Well, when I started this, when I started my research, it was really close to 30 years ago now. And there wasn't a lot of research to point to. So I love that I can point to research now. So it's like, okay, what's the big deal with this? It's a game changer. And you knew exactly where I was going with this, Debbie, because we're not just, all right, swinging our hands around, or you can do with a tennis ball, you can do it with a water bottle. Just don't use your phone, because if you drop your phone, you're not going to be calm and relaxed, right? So whatever it is, you're crossing the midline of the body. Much more importantly, you're crossing the midline of the brain. And
Yes.
when we are anxious, stressed, frustrated, angry, whatever it is, one of the hemispheres in our brain is out of balance. So by doing this, crossing the midline, so simple, we can bring it back into balance. And interestingly enough, if you do that for 90 seconds, that is the lifespan of an emotion.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
We drag emotions from days ago, from weeks and months ago, from decades ago, right? I will always remember a client years ago telling me, you know, about this situation. And I was like, and how long ago was that? And it was like decades ago. So 90 seconds. If somebody wants to look up, one of your listeners, if you want to look up Jill Bolte Taylor on TED Talk, all right? It's
Mhm.
called My Stroke of Insight. She is, I think, Harvard. Forgive me if I'm saying the wrong college, but I think it was Harvard trained neuroscientist. So she studies brains for a living. She studies other people's brains. She had a stroke, and she witnessed herself. This neuroscientist is witnessing herself, her brain having a stroke. And her stroke of insight was that the chemical lifespan of an emotion is only 90 seconds. So if we take 90 seconds to do just about any of these techniques, 90 seconds, that's a game changer. Because if the emotion's only 90 seconds and I'm still churning about it a day or a decade later, it's not because of the emotional lifespan there, right?
I'm touching it
It's like
and thinking about
instead
it.
of letting it go, it's like fanning the flames, right?
Yes. Exactly, exactly. Well, I really love that technique. I also love the technique where you're talking about think of a color
Mm,
and you didn't even define what the colors were. And I happened to choose blue. And I was like, "Oh, that was perfect."
yeah. Yeah. Well, and you can see blue is my thing because blue is calm. And when I'm working with clients, I literally will use colors, right? And this is why I call myself an integrative hypnotist because, yeah, obviously I do use hypnosis, but not like people think of hypnosis. It's not the entertainment stuff. It's not let me make you bark like a dog or cluck like a chicken, but I call it integrative hypnosis because I'm bringing essential oils in. I'm bringing music into it. I'm bringing the colors in
Mhm.
because all of the colors, and I never ever tell you, okay, now see or imagine this color, because that's me presuming to know something that I don't. I can't get
Exactly,
in your brain, right?
exactly.
But when I will say, okay, and what color did you come up with? When I do this in a group, I do a monthly free self-hypnosis masterclass,
Mhm.
and I can always see when I'm seeing all the faces on the screen, and I say, and what color did you get? I can always see when somebody has gotten the color black because they go, like they know it's wrong, and it's not. Like we think of the dark night of the soul, teenagers and their dark phases and whatever. Black has the energy of strength and protection.
Mm.
Okay, I'll go with that. Pink is the color of unconditional love,
Mhm.
right? Green helps overcome fear and frustration. Like, okay, wow, if I can weave that in, right, into with these other things, right? Oh, okay, I do this technique and it's in the book, but it's, written, it's a little harder to experience it than when you hear me in my hypno voice, my radio DJ voice. Right? When I'm guiding you to I have you do this whole experience and pick your color. Again, I'm not saying, and now see blue. I tie it, your individual experience with this individual color for you, and then give you a way to come back. Then these become automatic things. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to be like, okay, now let me look this up again. How do I do this? When it's quick and simple and easy, you'll do it. If I say, oh, like how I was introduced to meditation, you need to meditate 20 minutes in the morning and again 20 minutes at night. Well, that was 30 years ago, and I didn't feel like I had that much time then. Now, with technology and this fast paced lifestyle, nobody's going to, who I can't say nobody, someone who does not have an established meditation practice probably isn't going to just easily drop into a 20-minute in the morning, 20-minute at night practice.
Mhm.
Right. So you
True.
start with a minute.
Yeah, start with a minute and ease into it, and like you said at the beginning, repeating it just becomes second nature, and it will go faster. Not that it's gonna speed you up, but
Well,
it will just not
habit
seem so long. So
habits, whether they are good habits, bad habits, or something else, habits all become habits out of repetition. Um,
exactly.
I will make this very, very brief because I used to be the person who I'd hear brain research and my eyes would glaze over like, oh, I don't want to hear about it. But this is really, when you understand this, it can be a game changer. We have, I don't know how they can quantify this, but supposedly 86 billion neurons in our brain. They're
Mhm,
little messengers. When we experience something for the first time, a group of these neurons comes together and they fire off. The
mhm,
next time we do the same thing or something very similar, that same group of neurons fires off again and again and again and again. So we're building new neural pathways, right? That's great when we want to learn how to do something new. We want to learn how a new musical instrument or a new language or something. That's great. But when I was 14 years old and I picked up my first cigarette, Oh, the neurons went off. And then every time I picked up the cigarette, they got deeper and deeper and deeper. And when I finally said, nope, okay, no, I'm not doing that anymore, I started firing off different neurons and going in a different neural pathway. So habits, whether they're good, bad, or somewhere in between, they only become a habit out of repetition.
Exactly, exactly. Since we've been talking about your DJ experience with
Mm.
Stevie Knox, how did you integrate the two with what you're doing now?
So it's interesting. You're into law of attraction, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. When I was 14 years old, and I'm 64 now, so it was a while ago, I didn't know anything about the law of attraction, but I knew when I was 14 years old, I was going to be a famous radio DJ. And I was. I made it happen. Like, nobody told me about law of attraction or whatever, but it happened. I made it happen. And it was all just really following my intuition. I loved it. I had so much fun. But then when my husband had his first health crisis, and needed this liver transplant, we had moved across country again. Our kids were young, and I wasn't on the radio anymore. And I was like, oh, great. There's a very real chance this guy's going to die. And how am I going to raise these kids? So I need to find something new to do. Started out as a life coach. And then I learned, I got this nudge, didn't know about intuition yet, but I listened to it. This nudge, ooh, you need to go learn hypnosis. And Debbie, I'm telling you, that first day, I was like, this is what I'm meant to do, because I couldn't believe we could make change that quickly, right? It was
Yeah.
just mind blowing. Then I realized that I had spent 15 years on the radio hypnotizing my listeners to come back day after day. Oh, okay. It's all about the voice. So I used my voice to calm people on the radio. I used my voice for people to feel fun and happy. Had those happy hormones, the dopamine and serotonin, even though I didn't know what I was doing at the time.
Um,
And then I started the hypnosis, and I can I can drop into that hypno voice quickly. But it's like, okay, I put it on there, but it's not even something I have to think about. It's just, okay, now close your eyes, come to your breath, right? So it is a gift of mine. I've learned how to curate it. But because of that gift and using it to help people, again, I got trained years ago to be a stage hypnotist because you can make a lot of money in it, but that's not what I want to do. I want to be Stevie, because I was Stevie Knox. Stevie changes lives, just like Debbie changes lives.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I've had some sessions where it comes to me where I just create this whole scene for somebody so they can relax. And I actually can make a little bit of the sound effects of the lapping of the waves on the beach, having them feel the warm sand, hearing the seagulls in the background, calling and things like that. And as I slow down, I speak slower and slower. They just tend to relax.
Right. And I could see you go right into it yourself, that you're not. And this is where, one of the huge differences between what I do as an integrative hypnotist versus what a lot of hypnotists, I had no idea. But thankfully, the woman that I ended up going to, my mentor, told us on the first day, she was like, okay, if you know how to read, raise your hand. Everybody raised their hand. She goes, great. Most hypnotists are going to teach you how to read a script. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. Let me teach you how to find the answer, because your client has all the answers, right? So, right. You weren't reading a script there. You weren't talking about, right? You were just, dropping into it, and you were going with them. And as like, how are you going to respond when I'm talking to you and I'm getting nice and calm myself? And like, it helps you get there, right? So it's, to me, I'm incredibly grateful for this gift that I can use this in a way that does change lives.
Yes. And maybe I should look at being a hypnotist.
And it's not, you're getting very
No, no, no,
sleepy.
no, I wouldn't do that. No, it's just the way, it's funny, I've done some of these things, and actually I can set make people feel and hear the crackling underneath their feet if they're hiking on a trail and the calm river, listening and the the leaves on the aspen trees quaking and the glistening of the snow. I mean, I can do things like that because I guess I'm very visual. But I also
Well,
do
but you're
work.
also auditory, dear, because you were also bringing in the sounds as well, right?
Yeah.
And so, everybody is more dominant in different um, areas, right? But so if you don't know what their area, what their area is, then you cover the bases like you just did, where you were talking about the visual, you were talking about the audio, you were talking about the temperature or something, right? So when we don't know if we know that somebody is very visual, right? I'm gonna like do a lot of visuals, but I'm also still going to bring in the other senses because
Mhm.
those are important too, right? We
Yeah.
are we are holistically human beings, right? We're not just. And by the way, if somebody ever says to you, um, what do you mean you can't see a picture? Everybody can see pictures in their mind's eye because I've heard people do that. First of all, you're making the other person wrong. And why would you want to do that? But also, it doesn't matter
Sure.
it doesn't matter because the language of the subconscious mind, which is where our power is, our subconscious is like
Mhm.
95% of our brain, 95. So that means our conscious mind is pretty itty bitty, right? The
It is.
language of the subconscious mind is our imagination.
Yes, it is.
And if you think about as children, imaginations are just so fertile and so wild. But then by the age of reason, about 6 or 7, well meaning adults start, oh no, pushing that away, pushing that away. So as adults, if we can come back and get in touch with our imagination, one of the ways we can do that is um, doing mental dress rehearsals. And I don't know if that one's in the book or not. I've got 35 in the book and like several hundred more in my brain. But to do these mental dress rehearsals, we do them all the time, right? I used to do this all the time where I would mentally dress rehearse the worst case scenario. Not just how things aren't going to go well, but the worst case scenario.
Hmm.
And I realize now that it's trying to find some sense of control. Like, oh, if I worry about this enough and I think that, okay, blah, 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 right? But what if we flip that and we do the mental dress rehearsal of things going exactly as we want them to be? And we do that again and again. Oh, like Olympic athletes do, right? If you
Mhm.
think about Michael Phelps, he's won the most gold medals, I think, of anybody. Um, and you would see him before all of his races, all of his swim meets. He'd be there with his earbuds in, and who knows what he was listening to, but I could almost guarantee he was going through that meet that he was about to do, but not just like, oh, I jump in the pool and now I'm standing on a podium, right? He would go like through every little stroke, every turn on the wall. And do you think that he ever dress rehearsed that he was on the bronze podium? No, it was
No.
always the gold podium,
Oh.
right? So we can do that mental dress rehearsal and have a much greater chance of having them come out within reason, right? Within reason, having them go the way that we want them to.
Exactly. I mean, I tell people that it's not, don't think about the worst case scenario because you have no idea what could be the best, most wonderful thing that can happen in your life.
Right.
And so I'm more of a positive mindset type of person, even during those times where we were like locked up. I never let that happen. I kept on running. I kept on doing happy running chats. I kept on saying hello to everybody and making them smile. And I also, got into ecotherapy with the sounds of nature, the birds chirping, and the dogs. And I was laughing because the dogs had no idea what we were going through.
Right. Right.
So that's the whole point is that you need to, bring up these things, look at the vivid colors, look at the feeling of the breeze, and also the vividness of nature. And it just kind of sidetracks you. And so that you
Well,
don't think in this.
it doesn't just sidetrack you, it also is bringing in the dopamine and serotonin, right?
Mhm,
So which is why I'm such a huge, huge proponent of gratitude, right?
mhm.
Always look for the gratitude because it is so easy, especially, let me dig it out here. These things, they are just pushing all day long, telling you what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong.
Yes, gratitude is so important.
One of the techniques in the book is what's right now. And I'm going to ask you that, Debbie, right now, what's right for you?
Oh, I'm loving this interview.
Okay, great. So a lot of people, like when I ask them that, is like, I don't know, because we're so trained. We have that habit of looking at what's wrong. But
Yeah,
what if we look at what everything that's not that? What if we look at, okay, yeah, my husband's going in for heart surgery on Monday.
yeah,
Oh, what's right now? What's right now is he's healthy for the most part, right? He's going to get the care he needs. What's right now is I'm having this great conversation with you. What's right now? I'm safe, got a nice home, food in the cupboard, right? So
there's a lot of
when we go to gratitude, it Sean Acor, coolest job title ever. Do you know who he is?
no, but we're running out of time, but
Sorry,
you can
real
finish up
quick.
the thought.
He's a happiness researcher. Look up Sean Acor, Achor. He is, you want to learn about gratitude? He's the guy.
Okay, great, great. Well, how can you, why don't you just tell us about where my audience can get your book?
Amazon. Goodbye,
Yeah,
anxiety. Hello, freedom. And if you do, you'll also hopefully feel really good about the fact that when you buy a book, I donate a book to a school or organization that will teach this to kids, teens, and young adults because they need our help.
yes. And you had another little offer. You want to mention that really quick?
Yep. You see, if you see on the screen, it says Stephanie Dalfonzo, I bring calm. If you type in ibringcalm.com, it will get you registered for the next free. Every month I do it, the free monthly self hypnosis masterclass. And I'll send you 5 techniques from the book so you can start playing and finding your calm now.
It's wonderful. Thank you. That's a wonderful offer. I highly recommend the book. And I'm going to, and as you referenced
Thank
in your
you.
book, go to my resources. I'm
Thank
going
you.
to have my clients buy this book because a lot of the things that she's mentioned and more are things I already do with my clients, and it's in written form. So they can actually read it and refer it rather than try to remember what I said and
Right.
watching the video.
Exactly.
Because reading is faster, to me, it is. So I find this book is just fabulous. Okay, so go
Thank
get it.
you. Thank you.
And would you like to be a guest on my show again?
Of course I would, because I don't know, I think we could talk for a couple of more hours.
I think so too. I think so, we can too. So thank you for being my guest today. And stick around. We may have some time for closing remarks. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So remember, I do revitalize your health, and I help you make you healthier and gain mental clarity by correcting your gut, by guiding you to a clean, toxic-free diet, as well as high nutrients and quality products. One thing that's really important is I help you reduce your symptoms. And if you need weight release coaching, I'm your gal because I've kept my weight off for over 10 years. Once you make your body more efficient, your mood will be uplifted. And with my mindset coaching, I help you release the stress, reduce the emotions, and the entanglements from the past. So your mindset is going to be strengthened. Your body is going to be more efficient. And you can ask me about my programs on my consultation button of my link tree, which is https:// www.debi, changes, changes, lives, liv as in Victor, es.com, /link tree, linkttree. And it's all in lowercase. When you do that, you get to know me, I get to know you, and I'll optimize your health. And on the same site, I have my programs. And with my programs, you'll see that I have the next slide where I was going to say, take your body back. which is a 12-week weight release and mindset coaching program where you're going to create a new version of you in an avatar board. And during those 12 sessions, your first one obviously is private to you because I go over your health. I give you instructions on your meal plan and how to create that new avatar of you that will drive you to succeed on your health and weight transformation. And then the rest of the 11 weeks, I'll be helping you celebrate your wins and also guiding you through your gaps with health and mindset tips and tricks. And you will find that you become such a healthier person, a stronger soul, and you're going to have that new you. Also, I have that intermittent fasting program called Y-Fast, which is a unique high-density nutrition program that gets your body humming and boosts your metabolism and more. And it has a program with exercises as well as recipes. And you can ask me questions directly about that and get going on your own, or you can pick a 2-week or 4-week program, and I can coach you to get your feet wet. And part of that, you're going to see my surfaces on that site as well. And I have 2 different Zyto body scans. I prefer the Zyto Link because I can actually do these scans remotely, and I've done them internationally. Recently, I've sent one to South Africa. And what the Zyto Link is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send you a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It only looks at blood flow. It's looking for components of energy, functional and emotional, in different body systems and lifestyles. It gives you a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. And it's quite intensive, so I do review it with you. The scan costs $50, but if you move forward with products or a program, I'll give you a 25% discount on one of them. And my services for the Zyto Link already has a discount where you can choose, if you want to, buy a family pack of 5 scans for the price of 4, and you will get a $50 discount. People are really amazed what this Zyto Link tells them about their body, and you'll be too. So get your Zyto Link now. And for a limited time, I have a Debi's Coaching Chats, which is a 30-minute complimentary consultation in an intimate group setting. A survey will pick a topic, and it could be how to optimize your health, how to release emotions and stress, how to harmonize your hormones so they're balanced and you'll be healthier, efficiently releasing weight, how to have that winning mindset that'll help you with your health and also your weight release transformation, and also how to create that new version of you in an avatar board that'll drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation. It's on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You need to be registered for it at https://bit.ly/Debbie with a capital D, and I spell my name DEBI hyphen coaching with only a capital C and needs to be spelled out, and chats with only a capital C, and it is plural, and that needs to be spelled out. And there's no spaces. Once you register, you'll find out how my coaching is, and you get to meet me. And finally, if you want to learn more about alternative health, my upcoming promos, events, and shows, then you need to subscribe to my newsletter, which is https://bit.ly/radio TV show, all in lowercase as one word. And I give you a gift of a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can record your gratitudes and thoughts that you've had today, the feelings and emotions, as well as the foods you ate, the water you drank, the supplementation you took, and the exercise done on a daily basis, and track your measurements. You want to review this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them and see your gaps to work on. And if you need to have help bridging that gap, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. So you're welcome to reach out to me for my products and services, and reach out to Stephanie for her book and services. And do we have some time for closing remarks?
I guess that's a yes.
Okay, great. So what I was going to say is that, I always refer my guests to my clients. And I found this show so enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and I think that, we can come together and help people, right? It's not, oh, it has to be just, this one person. We can, each of us bring a little something different to it, right? And I love having these conversations because if one person hears something that we said and they start taking action on it, it could change their life. And if it changes their life, it's going to ripple out to their families, their friends. And we've really made some difference in the world. And that's, I think, why both of us do this, right?
And we educated to them, and this was a really entertaining show. I'm sure they enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Um, so I'm really grateful that you're going to come back for another episode, and this is going to be a wonderful thing. So
Thank you.
anyway, continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.